Alright, good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, January 6th, 2012. It's the end of the first week of 2012. Um, let's see. We want to go through um, the setups from this morning. Now, I had an appointment this morning. I was late getting into the room, but it looks like there was only one actual trade setup that happened on the 4-tick range in the time that I was out this morning. One valid one. There were a couple of near trade setups that happened while I was out, but the market opened up right here. All right, and this first one right here, this first pullback would have been disqualified because there's this space right in here. So there was no trade in there. There was no trade in here because of this space. And right over here we had a fresh bubble. It pulled back up to the BBC. In this particular case, it had gotten more than a point in the trade. You would have been looking to enter at 1270. You would have gotten in at 1269.75 with an MIT. You had at least a point in the trade, at which point I would have moved my stop to break even. So that would have been a break even trade for me. It went at least a point, maybe a point and a half. It turned around, came over here. It had touched the BBC before it ever got outside of the box, so there was nothing going on in there. No George trades or anything like that. So you needed the BBC to get outside the box. Right in here, I was back, and we had a higher swing pivot. We pulled down here. I had jumped into this one a little prematurely because I thought we had the bubble down here, but we didn't have a full bubble. So this was actually a trade that I'm glad I got out of at break even. It did give us a full point, and it did actually go the full 2 points, but I ended up getting out of it at break even. I moved my stop to break even once it got a point. All right. Now this one I did properly. We had the bubble down here. The red band's outside the black. And we had a higher swing pivot. It pulled back down to the BBC. I got in here at the BBC. It gave us a point. I moved my stop to break even, and it got me out of break even. Then it went up and it satisfied the 2-point target that we were looking for. From there, it's pretty much this was during our break period here, so we didn't take any trades in here. There would have been, let's see, right here, yeah, we had a fresh bubble. There would have been a long trade going on right now, right in here, had I been looking for it. All right, I'm going to jump over here on the 10K. Now, the trades that I actually did take have yellow arrows, and the trades that I didn't take, but that set up, have orange arrows. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and go over the trade setups on the 10K that happened this morning. Now, there was some pre-market stuff that happened here that we were not privy to, but we did get a bullish cross here and a pullback down to the BBC. This was the first pullback down to the BBC on the 10K after a bullish cross. You would have been looking to enter in here if you wanted to go long into the resistance that was right up above. Okay. Last night in the workshop, we had gone over when you have the BBC crossing up above resistance or down below support like this, and price comes back and tests the BBC right at that support and or resistance level. That is often an excellent time to get into a trade. Okay, and today was no different. There was a long trade right here. This was also the same time I think that we had a trade over here. What time is it? 10:56. Yeah. So that lined up pretty well with the trade we took over here on the 4-tick range. Okay. That trade, obviously, that went on for a nice move up there. It was around 70, 73, around somewhere in there was the entry, and it moved up to 77.25. You see down here we had a pierce of the envelope with the green trend strength line. Price at the time was about 75. It suggests a 5 to 6 point move up when that happens, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it get up to 80. To get up to 80 here before too long. Now I'm going to stick with the ES right now and just slide this up here. This is the 2100 tick. Using the Mike R scenario, there was one trade this morning on the 2100 tick. It would have been right here. Right around 71. Okay. The cycle crossed up above the 50, and price pulled back down right in here. Now I don't know what all the other charts were doing at the same time, but if he were going for his 5.25 points like he likes to do, then he would have gotten it. But I think he would have gotten out right over here with some profit. Probably a couple of points profit right there after it dropped back down below the MA1. You can see right now that trade that I just pointed out to you, this pullback right over here is just getting into profit right now. I had drawn these black lines in here during the live trading room this morning when we had put this triangle pattern in here. I had drawn those black lines on there, or those trend lines, and I said whichever way it breaks out is the way it's going to go, and it did break out to the upside. I was thinking it probably would break out to the upside. Now you see this right here, this pattern, this is called a bugle pattern. Now, once again, it's the same theory. Whatever way it breaks out of the bugle, it's likely to move significantly in that direction. I'm thinking that it's going to break out on the upside here. Okay. Now, as we continue to move around in here, let's see. There's nothing else here on the 2100 ticket this time, so I'm going to switch over to the YM really quickly. There was one possible trade set up on the YM this morning. We had a bullish cross of the BBC right here, and price pulled away from the BBC and back down to the BBC. So the entry would have been right in here. You would have been looking to get at least up to the MA1, more than likely up to the weekly trading zone. Alright, it did both of those. So that would have been, well, let's just have a look here. 302 up to 320, about an 18-point trade on the YM. Now obviously the YM is moving up, and it has moved up even further, but you would have been looking to get up to the zone on that one. Alright, let's see, I'm going to drag over the 6E right here, and we'll go over that a little bit. Okay, I think I had drawn in some marks on that this morning. Yeah, pre-market there were some opportunities with this. There was a little bit of divergence here with the close up above the MA1 right there while everything's up above the elbow. That was a good opportunity this morning. There was a bunch of chop right in here. We had divergence with the elbow on the wrong side, and more divergence with the price on the wrong side. There was, right here was a divergent trade. Actually, if you were waiting for the divergence to roll down, then you didn't get anything in there. Same thing over here. You would have been shorting right in this area right here. Right here was a news event, so I was told there was no way you were going to get into this. I wasn't here at the time when this happened, but there was some divergence in here, suggesting it was going to move down. Alright, if we get beyond the news event, then there was some right in here. Alright, suggesting a downward move. And over here there was some suggesting an upward move. Alright, it didn't really go anywhere on that one. Over here, suggesting a down move. I should draw some arrows in so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let's see. Over here, suggesting an up move. There and there. And where we are right now. This is bearish divergence that's setting up right here. So what we would look for would be a close down below the MA1 right here. Okay, we'd be looking for a close below the MA1. We'll see how that develops here over the next few minutes. But the markets are pretty slow right now. That's the euro, and that one doesn't trade all that actively right at the moment. Let's see. Yeah, the swing trades. Now let me bring up a cleaner chart if I can find one. I wanted to have Globex because we use a lot of Globex. I'll bring up an hourly chart here, and I'll go over the swing trades. Now the swing trade product, guys, the swing trade product will be available to people who are not partners. Alright, but just becoming a partner is a much better deal, I think. We're making it really attractive to people who become partners. But for people who are not partners, it's still going to be available to you, and we will be doing, we'll be letting everyone know shortly how the price is going to be structured for the swing trade product on its own. Alright. I want to remind everybody that there's a bunch of different ways that you can handle the swing trades. You know, what we did last night and the night before, and what we have been doing, is the futures trades for the most part. But you can trade options based on the swing trade recommendations. You can trade ETFs based on it, and you can trade futures based on it. And and there's a lot of different ways that you could do it. A lot of different ways that you could do it. I'm not going to get into that right now, but if for instance, like last night, we said we expect the swing trade, the first target on our swing trade, to go from 1270 up to 1282, and price came to 1270. It popped up to 1282 and change. I think actually even more than that, 1284 maybe. Let's see, what was the high? Oh, 1282 quarter right there was the high. Yeah, that's what it was, 1282 quarter. At 1282 quarter, then you could have just sold the thing, because it dropped like it dropped pretty quickly from 1282 back down to the entry point. Now, we were telling you about one of the partners that was in the room this morning who said he took a second entry once it dropped back down. On a second entry, he's probably not going to have as much risk, and he really doesn't need to. His risk at this point should only be a little bit below 1268, maybe down 1266 or something like that. But instead of having 10 points risk, he's going to have 5 points risk. And this time, he said he was looking for the secondary target that we had put in of 1290. Now, if we manage to get up to 1282 again, or actually above 1282, if we get up to 1283, I think the 1290 is pretty likely. I'm not sure that will happen today, but it's pretty likely. Okay. Last night when we were in the workshop, I think we actually even have it on the recording of the workshop. We were going over the news events that were scheduled to come out, after our entry into the swing trade, and it pretty much played out the way that we had anticipated. The surprise was the unemployment rate came in lower than anticipated. I was thinking it was probably going to be the same, but it came in lower than anticipated. But all the news events that came out pretty much worked out the way we had thought they would, and that's recorded for posterity in the workshops. All right, let's see. What I wanted to show you, the swing trades. The first swing trade, I don't have it. The first swing trade that we had put on was, hang on, I want to add a little something to this chart so I can draw these ellipses like that and rectangles. Okay. Now the first swing trade we had suggested yesterday, when price was over here, not yesterday, the day before yesterday, when price was down here, we had said, when price gets up here to 73, sell it and look for it to get down. I said to, Dwayne and I were saying, look for it to get down here to 1258. It didn't get all the way to 1258, but it got down, 1259.75. So we had this nice move right here, down to here. Then, yesterday, we said, if price drops down to 1270, which it did during our workshop last night. We said if price drops down to 1270, which is right there, look for it to move up to 1282, which it did right there. All right, those were our swing trade recommendations. We gave you an entry, we gave you risk, and we gave you an initial target. I know that as we were going through the beta, a bunch of folks were concerned because we were primarily giving you an entry and possible target, and we weren't giving you everything all at once. But that's why it was a beta. Now we know what people want, and we're going to do our best to give you an entry, a target, and the risk on every single swing trade as we move forward. Okay? The secondary target here, guys, is up at 1290. That's what we were looking at. Okay, but the first one was right here at 1282. Okay? And oddly, our risk over here from this 1270 entry over here, our risk was up at 1282. So it worked out perfectly. Yeah, when we had put this one on, it dropped down to where we thought it was going to go, and then it went back up to where we thought it might go if it were going in the opposite direction. So that worked out perfectly. All right. All that said, guys, I'm going to wrap up my recording right here, my recap. This is a pretty long recap. On the morning session, we got break even. I got break even. I didn't get any points on the morning session. I took 2 trades and I got break even on both of them. I know Dwayne had taken a trade in there and he got +1 tick on it, I think, before I came in. But for the record, we'll just say we got a break even. All right. Yeah, if you subscribe, for everyone that's in here that's on the trial for the regular CFR and indicator set, and this CFRN partnership and mentor program, if you become a CFRN partner, you get the swing trades. You get grandfathered into the swing trades. All right. So you'll get, if you become a CFRN partner before we actually do the swing trade release, you'll get grandfathered into the swing trades. We're not going to include the swing trades as part of the CFRN partnership forever. But for right now, if you become a CFRN partner, then you'll get grandfathered into the swing trades as well. Okay. All right. That said, I think I'm going to end my recording right now.